Hello everyone, I'm Denise Love, and today I thought I'd show you a few studio updates in addition to the art haul that I have for this month, because I've done some fun things to kind of reorganize and change things up a little, because I'm always looking for ways to make it easier to reach stuff and to pull stuff out that maybe it's kind of difficult to use and maybe they're my favorite supplies, like the Neocolor 2 crayons, but maybe you never see me use them because they're not in a convenient packaging to pull it out and play with because of the table space that I have at the time or what have you. And so I want to show you a few of the things that I have done to further organize and update here at my desk so that things are more convenient and not being left behind because I can't get to them, or they're just packaged wrong, or you know, they're all bundled up in something and you can't even see what you've got. So I thought I'd show you a few more of the little organizational things I've done here at my desk and show you a couple other things that I've done in the room, and then we'll get to our art unboxing. All right, so let me show you what I've changed. One of the changes that I made this week is my pen storage. So, you know, I pull out my acrylograph pens and my Posca pens and my gold and silver and stuff like that, and my pencils, and I had these kind of in a little cubby that I had built here with a bookend, and all the pens were just kind of stuffed in there, and they were really kind of hard to see what I had and what I had stashed away in other places around the room because there was no more space to add to the pens in the cubby hole. Like all these Poscas were put away because I didn't have room for them up here on the desk, so then hence they never got used. And so I got this fun pen holder off of Amazon, and I'll put a link to that down below. But look how much stuff it holds. And the big fat Poscas don't go back as far as, say, the pens, so they stick out a tiny bit further, but I don't even care because now all of them are there and I can see them, and if I want to use like a weird green color in my paintings, I can now just pull it and it's sitting right within hand's reach. So that's one of my favorite organizing things that I've added this month here to just in front of me as I'm filming, so you can see kind of what I'm facing and looking at. And if it's convenient to grab and hold as I'm creating, I'm more likely to use it, and I think that is going to make me use those pens and Poscas more. Another thing I'm super excited about, it goes right along with the pens. I wanted to get ultra organized, and I have all my paints in a drawer beside me, so I'm always opening the drawer and kind of digging out the different paints that I think I might use, but maybe I don't have the right color, or I can't see what I had, or maybe they're under other things. This paint storage organizer, which is the size to kind of fit craft size paints or the Blick matte paints that I like so much, is perfect. And now I can see all the colors. I could take the colors and go the other way and paint the colors on the lids if you're a, you know, want the color on the lid kind of person, but this is fine enough for color challenges and things that I want to do and grab the paints. And that has been fantastic. And let me tell you, it was actually really hard to find that in real wood. There seems to be all of this weirdo plastic stuff or some type of stamped out of a very thin product kind of stuff, which is what the pen organizer is made out of, and I don't mind that, but I didn't want a great big box that I'm going to hang on the wall to be made of something other than like a wood surface so that it held up over time, and you know, I didn't have to worry about it falling apart very quickly. I will say the one thing I did not like about this was the hangers on the back of it. They're made for some, I don't know, screw that was tinier than any screw I had in my house. And I'm like, I'm not sure how that's supposed to hold stuff up on the wall with any kind of weight with the mechanism that they've got to hang it with. So I actually took the hangers off the back of that and put my own hangers that would hang up something heavy enough that I could screw a wall anchor into the wall and have a heavier screw to hold the boxes on the wall that would stand up to me pulling little paint containers in and out. It's not like those are heavy. I think those might be 4 ounces in each bottle, but you know, if you've got the whole rack full of 80 something colors, I think there's like 80 slots or 82 slots or something like that on those. you're gonna need it to be able to hold up all those little pots of paint. And so you can see I've kind of organized them by color. I bought 2 of those, so there's one hanging right above the other, and I've got plenty of empty spaces on the one below to continue to add to my collection or slip in something other that's in that type of bottle. So I'm pretty excited about the paint storage. So now you can see the colors that you have, and if you're doing the color challenges, which is specifically why I wanted to be able to see all the colors and see what I was missing and maybe fill in my missing colors with the rest of the line, was to be able to pull the color cards and do color challenges. So I'm super excited about that organizational piece also. Another fun thing I've changed up here in my studio is some of my art carts. So I have one cart that was for my photography stuff, and it was the very first cart that I ever had, and all my different lenses live on the top of it, and I could pull it over to my still life table, and it was very easy to then, you know, pick a different lens with each setup that I wanted to take photographs of. And so I really love having different carts with different stuff on them. So the cart way back there in the back is an actual art cart, and it has extra stuff on it like color pencil tins and tape and paint brushes and whatever Chotsky stuff I want to throw in that cart. And so that's real convenient. But I had 2 of those carts of all the stuff that was like my little junk drawers, but it was 2 rolly carts, and they kind of got so much junk on them that I wasn't actually using them for the intended purposes that I meant. So I reorganized the 2 art carts and put everything that I could fit into one art cart that could go on there, that really needed to be on there, on that cart, and then put everything else away where it really needed to be. And so the other cart I've now turned into a sewing cart. And I don't love to sew, and I was going to go to school years ago to be in fashion design, and decided, you know, I don't like sewing clothes and being so exact and perfect in my sewing. I like being a little more imperfect and fun and spontaneous, and I like to make fur blankets, mostly because my grandmother had a fur blanket that she made in the 70s that I was just in love with, because I was like, greatest idea ever. And I think my grandmother had like that $1 million idea that didn't come around until, you know, the last decade or so. And now you can find fur blankets everywhere for like $20 at the TJ Maxx. And so I don't make fur blankets anymore, but there for a long time I did make everybody a fur blanket for Christmas. And so I have a really old sewing machine that's great big. It weighs like 50 pounds. It's so hard to get out of the closet, and I don't have a permanent station set up because all the other things that I do, I've got not enough space. I need a studio 5 times this big for all my different hobbies. But last week I went to the Walmart, I think it was Walmart, and I got a little baby sewing machine. And so look at how tiny the sewing machine is if you compare that to like my hand. Didn't mean to knock the thread off there, but if you compare that to, like, look how tiny that is, and it fits in the top of this cart, and it weighs literally 2 pounds. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, I could pick that up with my one hand and my one arm. And so now I'm like, haha, this is how I can pull a sewing machine back out to work on different things like junk journaling or art journaling or fiber arts or anything like that, where I want to do a little bit of sewing, just some basic, a straight or a zigzag stitch, but I don't want to get the mammoth machine that lives in my closet that's impossible to manhandle, get it out every time. This is the perfect solution. So I'm always trying to think of, okay, what do I want to do, and what's keeping me from doing it? What is the barrier standing in front of me that makes me not want to do that? And so for me, that was setting up the machine that's all metal that weighs 50 pounds. And so, okay, I was like, I need something smaller, easier. Maybe it'll fit on one of my little carts. Perfect. And I just want to be able to pull it out and put it back, and it not be heavy, and it not be cumbersome, and it not be a pain in the butt. And that is going to be my solution to that. So I'm like, okay, now I have organized all the sewing things that I have collected over the past 40 years into a cart. So now I have pretty fabrics I can use in fabric collages and fiber arts, and for my art journals and different things that I might want to create. And I've pulled together like all the sewing things that were hiding all over my upstairs in the closet in different drawers. And it's so funny because I thought, oh, I need some sewing bobbins because I don't think I have any of those. And when I pulled them all together, I have like 100 of them. So it definitely was worth it for me to dig into everywhere I've stashed sewing things throughout the years and pull it into one cart. So now I can just pull the cart up to my table, work on some, artful stitching when I want, and then put it back and slide it back into the little hole over there that I keep that cart. So that is another fun thing that I've changed up here in the studio so that I can make some fiber art kind of things easier, more accessible, and fun to actually contemplate and do. Another thing that I've done, I was in like super organizing mode this month, is I have this little white cabinet that sits over here in this corner. Was generally another gigantic set of junk drawers. Everything just got thrown in and I would have to dig through the drawers to find whatever it was I might have been looking for, or maybe what was really important to me would be in a bottom drawer instead of handy in a drawer I could just reach from my seat. And so I have organized everything that's in these drawers, and then I have put a label on each drawer so that I could easily look over and see what I might have had in each drawer rather than wondering, what drawer did I put my photo mats in, so I can pull that out to search out compositions that I like or what have you. And so I thought, okay, I need to really make this super handy for grabbing things. I'm always looking for ways to be more efficient in my filming and my little workspace, and I think of this kind of as my cockpit, and I need everything handy while I'm flying that plane to be within arm's reach kind of feel. That's kind of how I think of this. And so all of these little organizing things that I've done this week have just super made it easy for me to find and identify and use things that I couldn't find before. I would just be like, where did I put that? What drawer did I stuff that in? Let me look through all these drawers, and now everything has a label and everything's in a drawer that it needs to be in, and they're easy to grab as I'm working. So that was another organizing thing that I did this month. Okay, back to the desk. So another major change that I did this month, and then we'll get to unboxing yummy goodies, was I love the Neo Color 2 water soluble pastels. And so I loved them so much. I used to have a little tin that had 5 or 6 colors in it, and that would kind of live on my desk. And at some point I'm like, no, I love these so much, I need the whole big box of them. Well, this is how big the big box of them is, and it's 2 layers. So to get them out and look at the colors, look how much room that this takes up. It's a huge amount of space. And so there's no way for me to be working on art and pulling this out and looking through the colors without having, say, like a side table next to me that I could pull them out. And I had these living on my desk, just kind of pushed back under this white cabinet that you saw sitting here. And so if I was working on stuff, especially filming things, and I thought, ooh, what could I get? I would tend to gravitate to the drawers and the cabinet sitting beside me than trying to pull this out on top of my wet artwork. So it would live there and I could see it there. But how many times have you actually seen me pull the Neo Color 2 crayons out to use? Hardly ever, because it was not convenient. So I'm like, okay, I've got to fix this problem. This is a problem. So now I have a big tin. I like antique tins, but my little tin was about the size of an Altoid tin, and it only fits a dozen or so colors because it's a little tiny box, and I wanted something to fit all the colors. And I was at the antique store looking around, just seeing what I might have needed. And I found this beautiful tin, and I can't even tell like what this picture might have been. I think it's a lady and a guy playing an instrument, just a neoclassical, kind of classical, maybe Art Nouveau kind of painting. But I loved the box itself. Like, these carvings and things just jumped out at me, and I'm like, whoa, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this, but I need it. And I got home and I'm like, now I know what I'm going to do with this. And so now this little box also fits right here. It sticks out a little bit from this white cabinet, but it's within hand's reach. I can have a piece of work sitting here and just pull it right out. I love it. And you open it up And we've got all of our crayons in here, and even though I can't necessarily see all the colors, I can dig in here a whole lot easier and find something that I like, or pull out whatever color palette I'm working in right at the beginning. I can see them all rather than trying to fight with the big tin that we now know is just a pain that I don't pull out. So now I'm like, okay, it's pull outable. And I can be like, ooh, let's use some of these, and I can shut it right back up, put it right back in its home. It's very convenient. Don't know that I like it sticking out 3 inches, but I thought, you know what, I could live with that if it makes this easier for me to then start using these again while I'm working on pieces with you guys, because there's only so much stuff I can have on this little table. It's a 2 foot by 4 foot table, and I'd love a giant table, but there's only so much space in this little bedroom, so I just kind of keep getting more and more efficient with the space that I have, because it looks like with the real estate prices, we're all staying put for a while. So that is my yummy collection of things that I have redone since the last little studio tour, because I just can't leave things alone. So I want to show you now all the goodies this month. This right here, super good find. I actually saw this in an art haul on YouTube, because I too love to watch art hauls in addition to showing you guys art hauls. And when I decided to make this channel, I'm like, oh, what do I like to watch on YouTube? That's the kind of videos that I'd like to have, you know, in my channel, and art hauls were like #1 on the list. So somebody else had pulled out Arteza gouache paint. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't realize Arteza made gouache. I use the Arteza acrylic paints, especially in color challenges. They're not a professional grade paint, but they are super nice and pigmented, and they work beautifully, and they are my favorite affordable paint brand. And they're convenient because there's so many colors. So this has 60 colors of gouache. And what I like about these, and the other artists that I'd seen, and I don't even remember who that was, I apologize, they liked these, but you know, second to their Holbein. So I was like, oh, I could totally buy into that and agree. And I would use these, you know, in replace of, say, the Holbein if I were doing, you know, fun projects in my sketchbook or playing with color palettes and stuff, and I like the range of colors. What I don't like about a collection like this is the same complaint I have with the acrylic paints they make. They only make them in a whole set. So once you use up your favorite color, you got to buy a whole nother set. Brr! So what I did was I thought, I probably will never use those up for what I do. And so I thought, ooh, I love that. And I want to be able to play with the gouache just like I do my Holbein gouache. And I actually have those. And you see that that's how I make these convenient and to use them more often, as I have them up here on my desk rather than in the tubes in the drawers like we did. So, you know, the Holbein gouache, I bought these Amazon color palettes and then made some color charts, and now I have all of the colors squeezed into the color palettes, and now they're easy to grab and use all the colors whenever I need them. That's been super helpful. And so I thought, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do the same for the Arteza, and I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, make these into their own little containers. And so you got 60 colors. Each one of these fits 20 colors. I love the variety. Look at how vibrant the colors are. I've painted a watercolor swatch card so I know what the colors look like, and look how vibrant they are. So they're nice and pigmented, very vibrant. They're more opaque than a watercolor, so that is the factor that I like about gouache. I like the opaqueness and the pigmentation of the gouaches. And what I discovered as I was filling up, these are the full pans, so they're the bigger pans rather than the little half pans. This right here was about I would say not even half of this tube. So these are 12 milliliter tubes, and I'd say that's probably like 4 to 5 milliliters of paint that I squeezed into these to fill it up. And so there's still another whole pan and maybe even a little bit more of paint left in these containers. And so as long as, and they're just a tiny bit wet, I did these about a week ago. And so they're not 100% dry, but I did wet them down to make the sample swatch sheets. So these do take a while to dry, but it didn't even take, I'd say, 5 milliliters to fill that up. So now I've got a good probably 7 milliliters left in here, so I could fill that up again. So you can see how far this would go. You just wouldn't be able to replace a color if you really like loved it. So pros and cons there. And then to get all these down into the container really good without having to take a toothpick on every single one of them, which I did not do with my whole binds. And you can kind of tell they pulled away from the corners, and they're, you know, they move around in there in between me not using them, but they reactivate very nicely. So to actually get like a better fill of the pan on this set, what I did was fill all the pans, and then they've got little magnets on the underside of these, and then I tapped them on the table for a couple minutes. I just kept doing this, really tapping the air bubbles out, getting it into all the corners, and you can see it's really not pulling away nearly as much as my whole bind did. So that's a really good tip on filling these. Tap everything down, tap the air bubbles out. They're still going to shrink because that's what they do as the water evaporates and possibly crack. But you just reactivate these with water just like you do watercolor. They're generally the same binder. The main difference with gouache is the pigment ratio, and the pigments in gouache aren't usually as finely ground as the pigments in watercolor, but still it acts like a watercolor and it reactivates like a watercolor. So this super fun find, and I think I paid $45 for all 60 colors. Do you see why that made me excited? Because that price is so good, and I already like the Arteza brand, so great find. And I don't remember seeing this before, so I feel like this might be newer, but I could be wrong. So this is my super deal find of the month. I love it. And these, I'll definitely link everything below, and then I labeled them just like I did all my other stuff so that I can see what's in all the little tins of paint on my table fairly easily. So we've got our sketch box and we've got our stencil girl, but I want to show you a few other things before I get into actually opening those. So I had a friend of mine go on a trip to the Netherlands. They went to Amsterdam with her mother, and she brought me back some pigments from Amsterdam. How cool is that? So yesterday I was making watercolors with these pigments, and I'm like, and look at these fantastic colors that she picked. And what was really cool about these is they are ground by the windmills. How cool is that? And so she brought me a fun little windmill ornament, which I just think is the prettiest thing with the blue and the white. And so I just took some gum arabic pre-mixed because I was being lazy, and a little bit of honey, and mixed with the pigment to make some yummy watercolors. And then I did a little test of what these colors are, and I really love how deep and rich the brown is, and then that green, beautiful, and then this is almost like a Naples yellow. It's such a pretty yellow. It's not that bright yellow. And this was green earth Italian, and castle earth, and chalk from Sarti. So chalk and earth, so different pigments and things, 100% made by the wind with passion. How amazing is that? And then she also had a bag in this bag that had a lovely other little pouch that was perfect to keep for like collaging and stuff. And so rather than throw away the packaging, I'm like, okay, keeping that in my scrap bin of papers and stuff to use for fun, yummy collages. So this is super fun. If you are in the Netherlands, and you want something fun to bring home to an artist or to get for yourself, pigments ground by the windmills might be the coolest thing ever. Best gift ever. So that was super fun. I wanted to share that with you, and I'll add my yummy pigment pieces of watercolor that I made. I'm going to add those to my Provence watercolors because her mother is the one that brought me those pigments from Provence that I made into a whole set of watercolors. And I can't even tell you how much joy I get every time I look at that set up here on my table. Oh, I just love it. All right, this next product is called Stains by Patty Pockets, and I got vintage, a lullaby blue, and a lily pod green. And I saw these on a video by Robin McClendon, and she is a jelly plate artist, and I have her book, so I went and found the book because I love how her jelly plates are richer and more artsy rather than crafty. And when I get my jelly plate out, that's kind of what I'm looking to go towards, is the more artsy end of the spectrum with the jelly plate rather than the crafty, kitschy kind of end. And she was doing a lesson, I want to say it might have been look, there's some stencils back here. I don't even think I realized that. Oh my goodness. I've not had this book that long. Did show it in an art haul, and then I had put it away for future reference and things that I might want to do. And it's a beautiful book with lots of great ideas, and you can see how I would be, attracted to the looks and things that she has figured out and created. And I think in this particular lesson, the video was going over chapter number 11 with her Venetian plaster technique, and what she was doing was, painting brighter colors, but then putting these stains on the pages to antique them. So this stuff looks super cool, and it's made to stain papers to look more antique. And so I'm like, ooh, I definitely need that. And there's a lot of liquid in here, and she said that this stuff just lasts forever. So I was pretty excited about that, because in the art journaling realm that I am, kind of jumping into playing in more, because I like the thought of doing my art in books instead of throwing them in bins and them hiding away till I need them again. In a book, they can sit out and I can go back and look at them and I can share them. And so I love doing things in my art journals, whereas before I was always afraid to mess up the pages, and now I'm like, whatever, let's go ahead and paint in the journals and do our thing. And then we haven't, got a piece of art that we have to deal with and figure out what we're going to do with. And so I really love some of these techniques a lot, and I love the thought of staining and antiquing papers and different things. And so I got excited about this product. So I will link this video. I'll go find it again because it was recently that I saw this, and it was very cool, and she was using this product, and that was what sold me on maybe I'll try that out. So that was a fun find. And her book is Gel Plate Printing for Mixed Media Art, Taking Your Visual Storytelling to a New Level by Robin McClendon. And this is a beautiful book. And so I'm definitely happy to have something so creative and more on the art side with the jelly plate in my library. So I think you'd really love that if you thought that was interesting. I love it. Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple other books because I love them. Look at these. Look at these. Okay, and before we get to that, talking about the different sketchbooks that I'm creating or art journals that I'm making, these are ones that I made in my new class, Artisanal journals. So I just wanted to show them in the art haul because we're making a great big mixed media book in that class with a few different papers and fabrics like linen and watercolor paper. And I've already jumped into this one and done some spreads And I had somebody the other day, and I know I've said this, but they said, why do you start in the middle? And I'm like, in case I don't like it, then it's not at the very beginning. So that's why I start in the middle. That way, if you don't like the first thing you did, because you're just getting in and you're kind of timid, and maybe that is the first layout in your brand new art journal that you bought or you made or whatever, you know, you're kind of scared of it a little bit. And so if you start in the middle, then it's not the first thing you see when you open the book. And if you get lucky, you'll love whatever you did. But if you don't love whatever you did, it's in the middle and it's not a big deal. And so I've already jumped into using the first spreads here on this lovely mixed media journal that was inspired by the journal that I'm not going to name, but has sold out worldwide. You've seen me post videos in that journal every week, and you'll see me can post videos in that journal as I work my way through it. But this is my version of that journal. So if you have been dying to get your hands on that journal and you just can't find it, now you can make your own version of it and work along with me as I work in some of these art journals on the different pages and have fun. They're not hard. They don't take a long time to make, and they are even more special when they're done because you made it yourself. Can't even tell you how proud I am when I open that and I'm like, I made this book. And I made these paintings. And then I've got some other art journals that we learn how to make in the class. And this is basically a lay flat with whatever your favorite watercolor paper is, or your favorite paper, and you can work on it and it lays flat as you're working. And so I love that too. And I made several of this type of book with different papers. And you could put mixed media papers in here. What these are more good for are flat things though. Painting, drawing, sketching, things that don't build up the layers like collage and stuff, because they're a glued binding. Whereas these mixed media journals like this, you could pile them up and then they're just going to get fatter and fatter, but the way that it is bound, it can handle that extra weight and depth that you would be creating in those. These are mostly for flat stuff. So this would be like my color challenges where I'm painting and doing stencil work, and then I could have whole paintings in there on my favorite paper. This is the Hahnemühle paper, or maybe the Canson Heritage paper, so it's a nicer paper. I could do complete paintings, tape them off, and then, you know, if I love them, I could take them out of the book. If I absolutely loved it, I could pull it out. It's just glued in like your sketch pads are glued. You might pull the book apart if you pull a piece out of the middle, but you could definitely put these on a scanner and make prints out of them and things like that because they lay flat. I love these. And we make a watercolor book, just all watercolor paper in class. So if you've been interested in learning to make your own art journals, or you want one of those big mixed media journals, check out that class. And then look at these books. Oh my gosh. This book, Color Charts, A History of Color Charts by Anne Var-Richen. Sorry if I said that wrong. This book is beautiful. And what it is a whole history of color charts and like who did them and pictures of them. Look how gorgeous this is. Like, these are textiles and paints, and oh, look at this. This is just like candy to me, and I can't wait to like dive in and just study and look and admire the different, because for some reason I love color charts. Can't say that I love painting them, but now I actually do kind of like painting them, but for years and years and years I did not. It's one of those things that I have grown to appreciate because I already like looking at them. And look, I mean, makeup, color charts, it's just so cool. So if you're interested in just a history of color charts and some eye candy to look at, this is super cool book. And I'm glad to have added that to my library. Color Charts, A History. And then this was book month. And I won't even say that there could be a few that I have put in my stack to share next time because I went on a book buying spree, which is ridiculous because I have no extra room in these bookcases to put more books. I'm not sure I need to join Book Buyers Anonymous because I love books and I like to read, and I've bought a bunch of mystery books, and I have the library apps, the Libby and the Hoopla, so look at these. These are two books by Shelley Rhodes, and this one's more of a fiber arts book. This one's more of a book for working fiber arts into sketchbooks, and they're beautiful because I'm a mixed media artist. I may be tending towards textile arts a little more as I move along because I've always liked fabrics and things and stitching in our books, and you don't see me do that as much because it's not been convenient. Sometimes you got to just get rid of whatever is the barrier to actually getting things done that you'd like to do. And for me, the little baby sewing machine is going to make stitching in my work much more convenient. I'm not going to dread getting it out because it's sitting on a cart I can pull right over. It's not heavy and cumbersome. It'll just pop right on my table, and you know, if something's too hard, you're just not going to do it. Even if you're thinking about it, you're probably, unless you've got a permanent workstation set up, you're just never going to incorporate the different things that you want to incorporate. And so for me, the sewing machine was the barrier of entry that I just didn't want to hassle with. And so this book, super inspiring. There's a lot of rust and grunge and stitching, and so it's the kind of thing that maybe I would photograph for textures, the yummy rust and grunge that I look for. And so in a textile and an arts kind of way, this book is beautiful and it's very inspiring to me. So this, I love this book, Sketchbook Explorations. These are two books that I just got within the past week and then immediately sat on my porch to look through them. Fragmentation and Repair. So this is all textile artist kind of stuff, where you're making collage works out of textiles. You know, these are really beautiful pieces and segments and ideas. Like this right here is just painted book page, and it's the leftover scraps from collage work probably. But that would be very easy to recreate and use in your work. And these are yummy little collage pieces, fragments, remnants that I thought was particularly beautiful as I was looking through here. And then these pieces with the yummy plaster on it, so you can see all the beautiful, love this. And this has got like paper fragments and thread and stitching, and love that. So that's kind of in my mind a direction that I'd like to explore more now that I've made it more convenient and gotten rid of the barriers that mentally were stopping me from exploring some of these things. You just got to make things easier for yourself. So yeah, this book, so beautiful, super inspiring. I love these. Look at those. These are so beautiful. Look how beautiful these pieces are. Just lovely. So two beautiful, very inspiring books to me. Fragmentation and Repair for the mixed media and textile artist, and Sketchbook Explorations for mixed media and textile artists, both by Shelley Rhodes. And the covers of these are fabric, so they're very velvety. Okay, we're down to the bottom. I know that I've just thrown lots of different things at you. Now we're down to our sketch box, and I got my Stencil Girl stencils. So let's see what we got from Stencil Girl. Ooh, what do we got here? I love Stencil Club. I'm still in it. I didn't really think I'd be in it even this long, but I have. Look at that. I've really enjoyed the larger size stencils working in my larger mixed media books, that now I'm like, okay, these are fun and I'm gonna stay a little longer. Look at this one. Okay, I really love this one. I like things that are leafy, cover the whole page, maybe florally kind of feeling, and this one looks like a whole bunch of, you know, leafy vines and stuff. So that one is super cool. This one almost looks like a wild and wacky cactus from like the desert. I don't know what it actually is, but it's kind of cool. Very retro. So super fun. I love this one. So these are from the Stencil Club. They are the 05 of 2024. So this is the May stencils that they did in their Stencil Club, and I linked the Stencil Club below. And somebody always says, well, can you give us the names of the stencils? Well, they don't put names on these stencils. And you can't just go to their website and randomly find these on the different pages of their website. These are specifically from their Stencil Club, and they send 2 stencils a month, a variety of whatever they made, and they do show these actually ahead of time, so you have like an idea of what's coming. And you can buy past months on that Stencil Club page. If you're a member of the club, then they let you buy some of these past months. Otherwise, you can join the club. I think it's $25 a month, and it sends you 2 or whatever stencils they made that month to you. So I actually rather enjoy those. Okay, let's see what we got in this Sketchbox. I love my Sketchbox. This is my favorite time getting my random little sketch boxes, and you'll notice now that I don't get the other boxes that I used to get. And if you missed the videos where I said on those, the Art Snacks went to quarterly, and the Paletful Packs was monthly, but that was the one that I had gotten with my credit card points, and I got it a whole year for free basically. And I went ahead and after the year of those ran out, I dropped those because this is the one that's the most creative. They work with brands and get new things or special things that are exclusive to them, and they've been my very favorite for years now. Like, I've gotten them for years. So what did we get this month? Rembrandt Soft Pastel. Okay, that's already a win. Oh, got a kneaded eraser. See, now I love kneaded erasers. I keep these on my desk. I use them for everything. They are amazing, so you can never have too many of those. So good job there. I like getting a little sticker. Let's see what this is. Hero Tools. Ooh, ink blending brush. Look at that. I don't know what we're going to be blending for an ink blending brush, and I've never ever even seen these, but look at this. Oh, that's a fun, it's a real soft brush. I'm liking that. I wonder if we can stencil with that. Let's see what we got. Starter Kit by Nitram. I've never heard of Nitram. This is 4 sticks and a sharpening block. Let's see what this is. I'm glad they tell us what this stuff is, because they get new things. Okay, extra soft, medium hard, charcoal, and sharpening block. All right, that's a nice set. So these are charcoals, perfect for any artist. This premium kit has a variety of charcoals for any situation. Harder charcoal will yield stronger lines and lighter values. Softer charcoal will create strong black and soft blends. Use the included block to sharpen your charcoal to a point. And I like charcoal for mark making, so that's kind of what I will be using that for. Ooh, what's this? We've got premium artist paper, gray toned, 15 sheets. So I'm thinking this is a drawing paper. Oh, it says mixed media, so I guess that dry media, light wash, and ink. So probably more of not watercolor, but maybe a little bit of light washing and stuff. Ooh, charcoal pencils. I like charcoal pencils. I actually reorganized my stash of brushes and pencils that are here on my desk also, so that I could pull out the charcoal stick that I have up here more frequently, because it won't be hiding in between all the brushes. And I'll probably add these to that pencil container because I like those. All right, let's see what's left. Oh, look at that! Peel off China marker and white and black. So I actually like the China markers. And this peel off charcoal was also, I think, a Sketchbox thing that I'd gotten in the past. So I'm actually pretty excited to add the China markers into my pencil box, because they're basically, they mark on everything. This is a shiny paper, and you can see like the China markers mark on it, whereas the charcoal on shiny paper doesn't generally do that. Let's see here. Oh yeah, here we go. So see, that's the charcoal that I already had. And then the China marker, you're not going to see the white, but you'll see it's kind of like a Stabilo Marxall kind of feel, is what that feels like and looks like. So I do love having the China markers. I haven't had those since I was in school. So we've got the Rembrandt Pastel, which is a gray, and it pulls objects to the foreground of your piece. So that's pretty cool. Now we've got the Sharpie peel and peel off China markers. So the Hero blending brush is a small blending brush, perfect for creating subtle blends. I actually like that a lot. All right, so that is our Sketchbox. Oh man, so many good stuff this month. And I know I generally do a piece of art, but I think we have run so long here with our art haul that I might go ahead and save playing in these different materials for another video. But super fun. I hope you enjoyed exploring all of these yummy things that I had to show you today, and I'll see you guys next month.